Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dawn with Small Footprint Family, and this video is about how to optimize your images for WordPress. If you've been blogging for a while, you probably know that the media editor in WordPress will enable you to edit any image that you like simply by clicking Edit Image. And you can then scale it, or you can crop it, or you can rotate. You can do any number of things to it right there in WordPress. Now, while this is a really handy feature to have, WordPress does all of this to your images at the expense of the bandwidth of your site. So it's really best for you to optimize your images for the right size and scale and compression before you ever upload them to WordPress. And that way you have the fastest load time possible on those images, which is what you want to increase the load speed of your page, which will give you better search engine results in Google. And that's what you really want. You don't want your site to be slowed down by WordPress resizing things for you, having images that have to be shrunk to be visible and that kind of thing. So I'm going to show you how I do it on my site, and I'm going to show you with my sun-dried tomato pesto post. So first of all, I'm going to take my image that I plan to use for this post. In this case, you can see here the dimensions are 2120 by 1415. That's a really big image, and when they come off the camera or off of the stock photo site, they tend to be pretty big. And so you need to bring them down to the right size for your particular theme. Well, how do you know what size is right for your particular theme? Well, I'll show you. On this other post of mine, you can see I've got this lead image here. And if you want to know what size it is, you can use your right click on your mouse and you can either view the image or you can inspect the element. I'm going to choose to inspect the element. This is Firefox. Chrome has something very similar when you right click, and you basically want to look at the code. And so if I inspect this image, you can see that this image size is 883.636 pixels by 589.855 pixels. Now you don't have to size your images exactly that. I'm simply going to size mine at 900 because that's really close to 883 and it makes things easier for me. So all of my images that I upload to my site are going to be 900 pixels wide, and that way they don't need to be resized very much at all when my page loads, and that's what you want. So now that I have the right size for my images, I'm going to go ahead and alter that image. So I use Photoshop for all my image editing. You might use GIMP or Canva or PicMonkey or whatever you use. You're going to load that image into it and you are going to adjust its size. In this case, you can see my image is really large. So I'm just going to bring it down to 900. And you can see when you do that, it really reduces the size automatically. It was 8.58 megabytes, it's now 1.55, and that's great. It's already bringing down the size, and you can imagine that a smaller size is going to load much faster, and that's what you want. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink that image size down, and then I'm going to save it. You'll notice that I have used a file name that includes the keyword for my post. So this image is called sun-dried-tomato-pesto.jpg. You never want to upload an image that is got a file name something like img_0785 or some other obscure image. You always want to include your keyword in your image file name. So in this case it would be sun-dried tomato pesto. And you can see in my folder that each of my images has a particular keyword, such as sunflower seed butter or sun-dried tomatoes. In this case, it's sun-dried tomato pesto. And now you can see it is, I'm going to go ahead, I need to save it to the file. So and replace the image so I have it at the right size. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to compress this image. It's now a smaller size, which is great. That's exactly what I wanted. But it needs to be compressed still. So I use a utility that's called TinyPing to compress my images before I upload them. You can use a plugin such as Smushit or EWWW Image Optimizer to compress your images after they're uploaded, but I don't recommend them. They, first of all, don't compress nearly as much as an external compressor does, such as TinyPing. And second of all, they can break your site. This won't happen to everyone, of course, but I've worked with enough clients now that have had their images and their sites completely broken by Smushit or EWWW Image Optimizer that I just don't recommend them anymore. I think it's much better if you can compress the image before you upload it. You're going to get a heck of a lot more compression out of it, and that's going to be much better for your site speed. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this sun-dried tomato pesto image and I'm going to drag it into the TinyPing, and you can see that it has shrunk my image significantly from 443 kilobytes down to 107 kilobytes, and that's what I really want to see. So I'm going to go ahead and download the compressed image and replace that much larger image. And you can see that it takes up a heck of a lot less space, only 108 kilobytes. And now it is finally ready to upload to my post. So I am going to come on over here to my post, and I'm going to set my feature image. I always use a feature image because this is what shows up in social sharing, and it enables me to customize some things. It's also necessary for my particular theme. If I don't put in a feature image, there's no image at all. So I will drag the sun-dried tomato pesto image over, and you can see it's 900 pixels there. It's got the title there. I'm going to go ahead and copy the title to the alt text. You always want to put in alt text, and that alt text should include your search engine keyword. Now I also have a description for this particular post, and I always like to put the description in not only for people who are visually impaired who visit my site, but it also helps with search engine optimization, as well as certain social sharing plugins will pull the description. So I always use that. So I'm going to go ahead and set the featured image. And now this is the perfect size for my site. It's 900 pixels wide. It is also compressed as small as it can be without losing resolution on the picture, and that's exactly what I want as well. So I'm going to go ahead and update that. And now that this image is optimized, I can use it for my Pinterest image. Now, your Pinterest image is a vertical image typically, and I use Canva to create my Pinterest images. So I've got one that's ready to go, but it needs to have a background image. So I'm going to go ahead and take this sun-dried tomato pesto image that I just optimized and upload it to Canva, and then use it on my post, just like that. So I'm using the optimized image on the actual Pinterest image so that I'm keeping my Pinterest image small as well. So go ahead and change this to the right file name. I usually adjust my photo contrast down so that you can read the text a little bit better. Interesting. There we go. That's much easier to see. I think I might bring it down just a little bit more, because I want the text to really show there. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and download this image. But I'm not going to stop here, because Canva makes really big images, and PicMonkey does too. And you really want to compress them before you put them onto your website so that they're as small as they can be for fast load time. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this image out of my downloads folder, and I'm going to drop it into my Pinterest images folder. And from here, I'm going to drag it to TinyPing again, and I'm going to go ahead and shrink it to see what kind of compression I can get out of that. It's already the perfect size for Pinterest. But once I've compressed it, it went from 636 kilobytes down to 116, saving me 82%, and that's awesome. It's going to load much, much faster that way, and that's what I want on my site. So I'll go ahead and download the compressed image. Again, I'll replace that bigger image with the compressed image, and then come back over here to my post. And I use a particular plugin called Social Warfare, which I just absolutely love for social media. It gives me complete control over everything that gets shared, which is why I use it. It is a premium plugin. It costs $24 a year, and my affiliate link is in the comments beneath this video. So if you want to use this plugin yourself, I would love it if you would use my affiliate link to do so. But here's how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and use the image I just previously uploaded, the horizontal image that's optimized and has all the alt text and description and everything, and I'm going to use it for Facebook and Google Plus and LinkedIn. This debugs it in Facebook so that when people share my post on Facebook, this is the image that shows up, not some other image or no image at all. This image is the one that shows up. And then I've chosen the title and the description already in advance for this particular post. And now I'm going to go ahead and upload my Pinterest image, and once again I'm going to put in that alt text and the description so that it is search engine happy, and I'm going to select it, and you can see my Pinterest image is there as well as my Pinterest description. I've also added a custom tweet so that if somebody chooses to share my post on Twitter, it tweets exactly what I want it to be tweeted. And now that everything is all said and done with the images, I'm going to go ahead and update my post. Now if you need to update your recipe and include an image in your recipe, which I do, I've already done, then you'll come into your recipe plugin, whether that's Easy Recipe or Recipe Card or whatever, and you're going to go ahead and update your image there as well, because that also has load time and you want it to be as fast as possible. So if I use this particular image, it's already optimized, and I'm going to choose thumbnail because it's a small image and I want it to load quickly. And then I'm going to go ahead and save this. Recipe Card takes a little bit longer than Easy Recipe, but it has some bells and whistles that I like. And then I'm going to go ahead and update the post. And then we're going to take a look at the post so you can see how it works. See, it loads pretty fast, and I haven't lost any resolution on that big huge image, even though it's been compressed. This is one of the reasons I like TinyPing so much. It really provides a high quality compression, whereas some of the compressive plugins like Smush It do not maintain the resolution, and that's problematic if you really want to have beautiful photos on your blog. So now this is the optimal size. It's 900 pixels. It loads fast, it's compressed as much as possible. You can see I've got the little thumbnail there, that loads quickly. And then when people share on Pinterest, which they can do from my Social Warfare plugin, I have already uploaded the image and the description so that it's exactly what I want it to be. It's this image and not any other image, plus the description that I want, and then I can go ahead and pick a board and pin it. Similarly with Facebook, if I have someone who comes and shares from Facebook, it's going to share the image that I've chosen with the description and the title that I've chosen. Same thing with Twitter. It's going to tweet what I want tweeted. And so I have total control over the images that get shared and how quickly they upload to people's servers and how quickly they load onto people's browsers. And that's going to give me the maximum search engine happiness, not only because they are small compressed images at the right size, but I've also added the right alt tags and descriptions so that search engines can find it very easily. So that in a nutshell is how you optimize your images for WordPress. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments or PM me, and have a wonderful afternoon.